had knowledge of HIV. I've had a lot of people in my life prior to becoming positive that were positive. And typically at that time frame, they were all dying shortly after becoming positive. So my thought was, okay, HIV means death. I passed out on the floor because at that time I still felt that HIV meant death. And my sister and I left to take a bus to go home, and I almost stepped out in front of the bus. I was ready to end it right then. And I spent the hour it took to get home on the bus crying. My mother, when she found out, I called her on the phone. First thing you do is you call your mom when you're having problems. Excuse me. And when she answered the phone, I told her, I said, "Mom, I'm HIV positive." Her expression was, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" and hung up. And that was the last time I ever actually spoke with my mother, and that was almost 16 years ago. I told my employer, she fired me. And then I went home, and the girl that was my landlady used to work with me, and that boss told her, so I got kicked out. So I was on the streets, I was homeless, no friends, no food, no nothing. And I was at, you have that tether and you're like, oh my God, that tether just broke. So I spent 6 months on the street, just going from place to place, to shelter, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I started building myself up. I went to a local ASO, got help, found friendships there, started participating in that, and started getting better, and finally got a job and got my own place. I grew up a mama's boy. My mom and I were very, very close. At one point, we had a falling out. We found each other again, became friends again. And then when she found out I was positive, in a sense, she disowned me. And for the 15 years, less than that, it's actually 13 years, I had been writing her out every week, sending her a message, letting her know I'm okay, giving her information on what HIV is and that it's not a death sentence, and never got anything back. And 2 years after her death, I found out she died, but I still had a letter sitting on my table ready to mail for her. So I never had that closure, and I think that's the hardest part. When I accepted it, I accepted myself and realized that, yes, I have HIV, but I'm no different than I was yesterday, no different than I was a year ago or 10 years ago. I just have this little thing called HIV. I started feeling more empowered, and I think finding that empowerment that I never had as a child or as a young adult has allowed me to propel myself into something better and something more than what I could be, or originally thought I could be. When I first started taking medication, it was very disruptive to my body. I was working full time in a restaurant anyway, so I was working 70 hours a week, and I had this new medication that was causing diarrhea and all these other side effects. And the medication itself was destroying my intestinal tract and my immune system. And I developed Kaposi sarcoma, which is KS, in a sense, a form of cancer. And I had lesions all over my body. And those lesions made me feel like a leper. I wouldn't leave the house because I had big bulbous black lesions all over. And then at the same time, I ended up getting an infection with MRSA. So wham, bam, So I was dealing with that. And those medications, like I said, they were so disruptive, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. I'd have horrific nightmares. My God, the nightmares. Dreams that my sister was getting run over by a car, or that someone was being beheaded, and it was bloody and gory and horrific. And to the point that I would wake up screaming. When I was really ill, and I was dealing with the KS and the side effects of medication and stuff, I had my door open to my apartment. And as I was cleaning, I heard a screeching sound, and then something ran in my front door. And I thought it was a raccoon because it was big and ugly and furry and disgusting looking. And I investigated, it was in the back room in the corner, and I finally realized it was a dog. So I had a cat at the time, and I put down a bowl of cat food, and it ate the whole thing. And then I put down another 2, ate all of that. Then I put down like 3 bowls of water. She drank all the water. Finally, I was going to call the SPCA, have them come out and take the animal away. And as I sat down, and I'm gonna cry again. She walked over to me, laid down next to me, and kissed me on my sore ankle. Looked at me with their little black eyes and said, "No, she's home. She's home." And I called the vet, and a person voluntarily for free groomed her. And once they groomed her, she was a little tiny 7-pound Shih Tzu poodle mix, and she's adorable. And the greatest thing is she's well trained. I didn't have to train her. She tells me when she has to go to the bathroom. She barks at I tell her to use her inside voice, and she lowers her voice. I mean, she's my girl, and I call her my angel girl because I was really ill at the time and reclusive. Taking care of her allowed me to realize there's more in life, and that nurturing part came out. And walking her around got me out of the house to get exercise. I met more people, and my life opened up. So she's my angel. She's my angel.